Hey there, it's CJ Willie, and I'm cracking a pack. Today I have a Magic the Gathering Core Set 2020 booster pack to open. This is a set that's still in the standard rotation, won't rotate out until the new Zendikar set comes out in the fall. I really like Core Set 2020. Typically, the core sets get a really bad rap because, it's just a bunch of reprints, it's blah, 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 it's not all that great. I really enjoyed it because one, there were some great reprints in Core Set 2020, and then two, there were some pretty good cards. Some of the cards I'd like to get, let's just start with the uncommons. I'd really like to have a Veil of Summer. I was lucky enough to get a play set. So when we did our play group got together, the three friends of mine, and drafted or busted a booster box and did 3 rounds of draft. I actually got 2 of the Veil of Summers in that, and then I got lucky in a couple of loose packs. I got some more Veil of Summer, so I'd really like to get that. Any of the mythics, I really like the Cavalier Cycle. I think that would be pretty cool. And there were the legendary creatures that were at Mythic that were really cool, like Yarok, Omnath, and even the Planeswalkers are really cool. I'd like to get another Agent of Treachery. I have a single Agent of Treachery. I know that recently got banned, but in our play group, we don't adhere too much to the ban and restricted because we're just there to have fun. It's a really casual, the Magic Gathering point of view, and I mean, none of us really have multiple copies of the banned cards or really are able to afford all the high dollar cards that go into some of these, decks that they're played on the, with their pros and even grinding out on, Friday Night Magic, things like that. So I'm really looking for some of those cards. Enough talking, let's get to cracking the pack. So as I crack the pack, I'm not going to spend too much time on the commons, simply because, whether they have an impact or not. And then I'll take a little bit more time on the uncommons or rares that I crack in this pack. Let's see if we can zoom in just a little bit more. Yep, right there. Okay, first card of the pack is Stone Golem. It's 5 generic mana. It's an artifact creature golem. No abilities. It's a 4/4. Pretty blah. Even when we did our draft, and I didn't play with it too much, even though, you could be trapped into, oh, it's just 5 generic mana. It can go into any deck. It's not really that much of an impactful card. Next card is Undead Servant, 4 mana, 3 and a black. It's a zombie at 3/2. When Undead Servant enters the battlefield, create a 2/2 black zombie creature token for each card named Undead Servant in your graveyard. So this can be a pretty fun card, especially in draft if you get a whole bunch of them together and then, you just kind of chain them. I don't know that I like this cycle as much as the other color that have a similar kind of cycle. The next card is Area Assault. 3 mana, 2 and a white, sorcery, destroy target tapped creature. You gain 1 life for each creature you control with flying. I like blue-white flyers. I play that quite a bit. This card didn't seem to really pay off that much. You really had to have the creature attack, and then you could destroy it. Sorcerer speed wasn't great as well. There were times, though, when, I'd let kind of a big beefy come in, chump block it, and then kill it with this. It was rare that I got the 1 life for each flying creature, and I play a lot of blue-white flyer decks. Squad Captain, 5 mana, 4 and a white, has Vigilance when Squad Captain enters the battlefield with a +1/+1 counter on it for each other creature you control. Now, at first I thought this card was going to be a trap, because, maybe you only have 1 or 2 creatures, it's 3/3 or 4/4 at best. What I didn't realize in seeing this played was, yeah, if it came out as a 3/3 or 4/4, it had Vigilance, but there were some pretty good enchantment auras going around, and this card did some work. Next is Unsummon, single blue, return target creature to its owner's hand. Now, in some of my previous packs, I think my Hour of Devastation and Amonkhet bundle bingos, Unsummon was not great in that format because it was such an aggressive, fast format. You cast Unsummon, return their creature to their hand. They just play that cheap creature once again and be off and running. Unsummon did some work in this set because you could bounce their big bomb, survive, maybe you'd counter it, maybe you'd kill it, it'd buy you some time, slower format. So I did like Unsummon in Core Set 2020. Greenwood Sentinel, 1 and a green, Elf Scout, has Vigilance, it's a 2/2. So, first blush, you look at this card and you're like, not that much. But this card actually did some work, and it was featured in some decks, an arena, where you could put some really cool enchantments. It was basically a green-white enchantment deck. And Greenwood Sentinel was pretty big piece of it as a 2/2 vigilance. You slap some of these green enchantments on it or white enchantments, and it would do a lot of damage. Next we have Marauder's Axe, 2 generic mana, artifact equipment. Equipped creature gets +2/+0. Equip for 2 generic. Artifacts need to have a really low cost and kind of a low equip cost to be impactful. And usually I'm looking at something that has an equip cost of 1 or 2 and a casting cost of 1 or 2. Usually those end up being rare. So common equipments, I'm not too much of a fan of, even in draft. Thicket Crasher, 4 mana, 3 and a green. It's an elemental rhino. It has trample. Other elementals you control have trample. It's got 4/3 for power and toughness. The element deck was a real thing in 2020, Core Set 2020, and it was a real thing in draft. Couple of drafts I did, I went with an elemental theme, and giving your other elemental creatures trample is pretty darn good. And the elemental deck builds really fast, and if you can draft it correctly, it's going to win some games for you. So I really liked Thicket Crasher as a common in that elemental deck. Disrupted Digger, 3 mana, 2 and a red. It's a goblin at 3/2. You can pay 3 generic mana, tap it, sacrifice an artifact or a land, and then draw a card. Yeah, I tried this. Maybe we'll see the artifact, but there's an artifact that if it died or left the battlefield, it would deal damage. I think 5 damage to any target. So I tried to mess around with that and this particular card. I just couldn't get it to pan out. It seemed like too hard of a combo to put together. Our first uncommon is Loyal Pegasus. It's a single white mana. It's a Pegasus at 2/1. It has flying, and Loyal Pegasus can attack or block alone. Now, this originally came out of Theros block, and it was a common there. I was really disappointed to see it as an uncommon in this set, and to get it as an uncommon in this pack. Though it didn't have the same power level, I felt, as when it had in Theros, where you could combo 2 or 3 of these together, and then you were able to swing in for 2 a turn. It seemed to be a little bit more of an uncommon trap in Core Set 2020. Next uncommon is Season of Growth, 2 mana, 1 and a green. It's an enchantment. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, scry 1. Whenever you cast a spell that targets a creature you control, draw a card. I love this card. I actually, in one of our drafts, built around this card, and it did a lot of work. Typically in sealed or limited, you know, you're going to have creatures entering the battlefield. I was able to scry just about every single turn, and, you know, I would probably load up with 3 or 4 combat tricks to target my creature, and that would draw me additional cards. So Season of Growth was an uncommon I really liked, and it was a great build around. And I've been thinking about trying to figure a kind of a current, maybe standard deck to include 2 or 3 of these in there, because I think it's a really cool uncommon. Our final uncommon in the pack is Lightning Stormkin. It's a blue and a red. It's an elemental wizard, has flying, has haste. It's a 2/2. This was one that I tried out in the elemental deck. The elemental deck was Temur, blue, red, and green. This one got cut quite often simply because there was 2 or 3 other cards that I wanted to play in the elemental deck versus this. And it didn't make sense in the blue-red deck because it didn't have prowess, or it didn't have any of like the non-creature spells ability. So it was kind of an odd fit in the deck. Okay, what cool rare and mythic rare did we get out of the set? Hopefully something really, really, really awesome. We have Dread Presence. So 4 mana, 3 and a black. It's a nightmare. Whenever at 3/3, whenever a swamp enters the battlefield under your control, choose 1. You draw a card and you lose 1 life, or Dread Presence deals 2 damage to any target and you gain 2 life. This was an extremely fun card in draft. If you happen to get one of the Cavaliers, which kind of cemented you in one color and barely splashing another one, and you could get the swamps out, this was a card that did work. I have 1 copy of it, and I play it currently in a mono black devotion deck in standard, and I really like it because it says basically when it enters the battlefield, if you don't kill me, I'm going to deal you 2 damage, and I'm going to gain 2 life just about every turn, as long as I have a swamp in hand. Or, you know, I can just draw a card and lose a life. A very good utility creature, and I'm going to find a way to put this in my mono black devotion deck. Okay, and then we have a swamp. Oh, and a foil Season of the Growth. That's really cool. I forgot that the foil was after the Landslot. So we've already gone over Season the Growth in the pack, and we have a Demon Flyer token. My favorite card, or best card out of this set, is going to be what we got twice in a row, the foil uncommon and then the regular uncommon. Season of the Growth did a lot of work. I played it in my elemental deck that I talked about, and it was really easy to target my creatures. It was really easy to draw a card off of it. It was really easy to scry. I had a lot of fun with this card, and as I indicated before, it's a card that I do want to play in a standard deck, or whether it's or some sort of constructed deck, whether it's in standard or Pioneer. Season of Growth was just a really fun card to play in. You're not afraid of taking turn 2 off to drop this down, and then be able to really set up, especially in a green deck, card draw and scry. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please subscribe and share. Also share with me in the comment section what was your favorite card or what you thought was the best card in the pack. Until next time, when I'm back to crack the next pack of Magic the Gathering.